I have the entire shower in the back of my truck. I'm glad to get rid of that thing. I don't like those things, no I don't. And all this garbage wall tile that I talked about on the previous video. I will link that video down below in the description, and you can go watch that to see what I had to go through to get all this stuff out. And the new shower is finished.
Bring it to me, bring your sweet loving, bring it on home to me. Yeah, 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 yeah. I know
Okay, this shower is done. I don't normally do a video, before and after video anyway, of a shower that, well, let me preface this. This shower was a plastic shower pan, plastic I call fiberglass. And I titled the video DIY Mistakes on Showers, or something to that effect. And in less than a week I've gotten 3,500 hits, 3,600 hits, and a lot of questions and stuff, because that shower is done by the homeowner, and they used a really crappy tile, and there was a lot of issues going on with it. So anyway, they were doing an upgrade and decided to get it done correctly. But there are some things that I'm going to explain on here for those of you that are DIYers that decide you're going to spend less than $1 a square foot on tile. And here's the issue. Less than $1 a square foot on this tile. And this is glazed clay, is what I call it. These are not home tile by any stretch of the imagination. They're not rectified. They're not. It's really a crap tile. I have absolutely no use for it whatsoever. However, he spent the money on it a couple years ago. I used it on his downstairs bathroom last year, and he had extra. But he only had 5 boxes. 50 square feet is not enough to do this shower. So we decided we were going to do something different on the top from the get-go. He also wanted a niche. I thought that would take up, 2 or 3 square feet of tile so that I could actually go up to where the shower head is at. But I wasn't able to make it happen. And so we ended up deciding to use this gray tile because all the rest of the house is gray. The gray tile around the top, the gray tile around the niche, the gray tile as a skirt at the bottom, and then a gray to wrap the curb. And this is how it turned out with a couple of strips on the side. But I'm going to go over a couple of things for DIYers that for whatever reason you decide you're going to use a cheap tile and you want to do it right. Don't do it the way it was done before. I'm going to post that video down below in the description box. So if you haven't seen it, you can look at it and see how they had done their shower as a DIYer. Now, this took a little bit more time because, again, I'm not working with perfect tile, but I'm able to still, do this tile without lippage. This tile is thin. It's not as thick as most tile. In fact, this tile is twice the size and thickness than this is. So, as I said before on that other video, they had the tile flat to the wall, and it shouldn't be that way. There should be some thin set on the wall, and then you back butter the tile, you put it on there, and then you manipulate your tile in such a way that you don't end up with the lippage. And so they had quite a bit of lippage, and there's none on here. If there is, it's very minuscule at best. So that's one little tip. Another tip is they used quite a big grout line, and I explained on that other video also, some of the grout lines were 1/2 inch, because this type of tile, it doesn't match. One tile to the next doesn't match. Let's see if I can show you on here. I'm sure I can find something. So if you look on here, right here on the edge, this tile is perfectly even with each other, but over here it's about a 1/16 inch difference. That 1/16 of an inch matters by the time you get to the second or third row, and that's what I said on the other video. So what I did is I came in here knowing full well that that was the case. I didn't use 1/4 inch spacing, but I didn't use any spacers at all. So I kind of manipulated it by eye. As you can see here, this one is about 1/8 of an inch discrepancy, but it's even at the bottom. So just by eyeball, and yeah, I did use some spacers to take up the gap, but I didn't set out to say, okay, I'm going to have 1/8 inch spacing, because it's not going to work. 1/4 inch spacing is too big. So overall, when you look at this, it looks like it was done with 1/8 inch spacing. I'm not patting myself on the back, but that's what the experience of a tiler will get you, is that you can have I'm not suggesting you go out and buy a crappy tile, but I'm saying that you can have a job, even a DIYer can do it if you take your time. This tile, as I said, is much thicker than this tile, but I'm able to get it flush because I use more thin set here and less thin set up there. So the manipulation process matters. Let me get to a couple other things. I think my video card is going to run out here pretty soon. I don't bullnose tile. There is a bullnose blade that goes on a tile saw, but in order for me to change that out and change it back to a regular blade and all that stuff, I just don't bother. So I have a guy, a tile, he works at a tile shop, and he does bullnosing kind of on the side at night. And so all the grout that you can imagine that people use, all the grout comes with a matching paint. And so he just pulls out his paint and he just assumes the color. Understand, this is also glazed clay. The edge of here is brown, same as that brown I just showed you. So he just paints the edge of it, and he's able to bullnose all around and get me these 2 1/4 strips that, you know, are flush with the rest of the tile. And then of course it's gray grout on the inside of there, as well as gray grout on these gray tile, which is a bit of a pain. But anyway, so that's a little explanation of that. What else did I want to tell you? So if you start running out of tile for whatever reason, like in this job, you gotta think a little bit ahead and know that you might have, yes, you might have to put a skirt here at the bottom. You might have to do something different on the top. If we had done a border, that still wouldn't have helped me, you know, attain more tile in order for this job to be, you know, finished the way it should be. They didn't have any on the other job. They didn't have any end caps at all. They didn't have any the Schluter strip. They didn't have any bullnose. It just kind of stopped. I think there was some grout shoved in there. So I did put Schluter on the sides here. So ended up on the right and the left with the Schluter strips all the way down. I kind of married it into this tile that was already here as a baseboard. You know, and it turned out okay. You know, the 2x2 on the floor. Now they actually have, you know, a tile shower floor instead of the plastic thing that I can't stand. And then of course the 2x2 inside of the niche. What else can I tell you? Oh yeah, so they decided to not change out the shower fixture. This is the exact same shower fixture that was used before. If you're going to do your own shower and you're going to do this, make sure that your parameters are exact. Measure out where your escutcheon and all that stuff is going to be prior to you doing the demo, so that when you do the build back, everything matches up. Another thing I do is I taper off the edge of my tile going around, so all 6, 7, 8 of those tile have a slight taper. I don't know that anybody else does it, but that's just a habit I got into a long time ago. So there's positive water flow. When it gets to the edge of the drain, it's going to go down for sure. For sure, there's not going to be any standing water pooling, as we call it, around the drain area. So that's another little tip that I can throw out at you. On the outside, this is not tile. I know it looks like tile, but it's not. On the floor, this is a sticky rubber flooring, whatever. So I just went ahead and married it in to the curb and ran a bead of grout along there. That may or may not hold because this isn't real tile. It doesn't have anything, you know, real porous to stick to. But if that does crack out, then they can use some gray caulking and run a bead along there. Another thing too about caulking, there's some haters out there. No, I don't do the caulking. Yes, there is separation sometimes from different planes, but it's not definitive and it's not now. You know, it might happen in 3 years or 5 years or 8 years from now. I built my shower out of travertine, natural stone. So everywhere in the corners of my shower, including my niche, had no cracking, and that was 4 years ago. 4 years ago, there's no cracking. Once you start doing caulking, then you're relegated to take out that caulking when it gets moldy and mildew or whatever, and it's a big pain, and I just don't recommend doing caulking unless it's needed. You know, this shower should be sealed, and that grout line along the corner is going to be sealed, theoretically, and that will keep water from going out there. Plus you have the overlap of the tile from left to right, so I'm not too concerned about the corners. However, if there is some cracking, a little lineal crack occurs down here in 5 months or 5 years from now, yes, run a bead of caulking along there. That's when you should do it. I don't do it by default because, again, I've gone through that process many years of doing this type of work. I know what I'm speaking of, and so the caulking is absolutely unnecessary unless needed. So again, getting back to what my little tangent on this crappy tile. Here's a really, really good example. These tile match up almost exactly right there. You can see the edge of there, and then you come over here and look at that edge. That edge is like 1/8 of an inch off. And so it's not the easiest tile to work with. When you buy low grade tile, that's what you end up with. But hopefully, and the reason I do these videos is to hopefully help homeowners or DIYers, or maybe even tile guys that are just starting out, to kind of understand and learn of all these little tricks that I use in order to make something that was kind of, well, not kind of, it was really fugly, into something that's more palatable for anybody. But my suggestion, again, I'm not trying to advocate that you buy cheap tile and then either do it yourself and struggle, or have a tile guy do it, because if somebody hands me one of these and says this is what I want to use, I usually decline the job. Because I don't want to work with this. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to have to do all the extra work that it takes to set those. I did it here because this is a long-standing customer of mine. So what I suggest is spend one time and spend on quality products, spend on a rectified tile, you know, do it right, in other words. You know, a lot of my videos I'm taking out showers, especially around the floor area, that failed, and then they say, well, just take out the rest of it, and they're spending thousands of dollars having to redo their thing. And I'm saying, don't scrimp on your material. You know, buy a quality tile, make sure that you get, you know, a contractor that's going to set it right, and you'll be happy, and the next homeowner will be happy, and, you know, so on and so forth. But the point being is that they had a shower here at one point, which I absolutely have no idea what it looked like. And then they took out the walls, and they spent money, and they did it themselves, and they spent money again and had me do it. And so they've had 3 showers in this house where it should have only really had 1. So, you know, spend a little extra, do it right the first time, and, you know, be proud of yourself when you do something like this. This is, again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back by showing you this, and that yes, it did turn out well, and yes, I'm pleased with it, and so is the customer. But the point being is that things are possible with these little tricks that I'm trying to show you, that I'm trying on my channel. Subscribe to my channel and you'll see a lot of these tricks going on. In fact, I didn't even show the build process because it's a redundancy. I have a lot of videos, if you look on my channel, about how to build the shower pan, how to build a curb, how to build a niche, how to do the walls, how to... Yes, go through my channel and watch all my... Well, don't watch all my videos, you get bored to death, because I talk a lot. 270 videos I have currently, and you can find the process of doing this entire thing on your own. But spend a little more on your tile, please, 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 please. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, then subscribe. Hit that button and subscribe, and hit the bell. The bell will let you know right away when I post a new video. I make nothing off of YouTube, so please be a Patreon member. I'm going to post a link down below to my Patreon account, and you can donate $1, $5, $10, $20 a month. Just pledge that on a monthly basis. That will help me produce more videos and content so that you can watch and learn from my channel. And by the way, if you're going to call me, please, up there at the top of my channel where you see that picture up there, on the right hand corner, there's a P, which is for PayPal. Hit that PayPal link and donate at least $50 if you're gonna call. If you're gonna call for advice, donate to my PayPal, please. Donate first, and then feel free to call me or email me for advice. Otherwise, business calls only, please.